Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Champions of Wellness podcast. Here, brought to you by Healing Your Way. And I just want to say before we start, thank you guys so much for tuning in with us this Monday of the week of Christmas. And I hope you guys have a super fun holiday this week, especially with everyone gathering together for Christmas and everyone's in that holiday spirit. So I hope you guys really enjoy this Christmas holiday and have a fun time and learn something new with what we have to talk about today.
Yeah, and today we're going to be talking about what hidden signals are going to be messing up your mental state when it comes to physical or mental or psychological, anything that alters your well-being throughout the week. And we're kind of going to give you some techniques or things like that, or like maybe things you should be doing, like eating proper foods in order to fix your gut health as well as your mental state.
Yeah, exactly. Like Joshin said, the focus is going to be kind of really understanding what affects our mental health and what things in our environment can kind of push us towards an unstable mind or unstable mental health, which usually leads down to um, different different directions and negative spirals, like spirals of depression, feelings of anxiety, feelings of panic, uh, a lot of stress going on, maybe turning into chronic stress. There's a lot of things that are happening um, in our day to day life that can change our mental state from here and there. And sometimes it feels like that you really don't have a lot of control over your mental state. But today, what we're going to talk about and share with you is what actually affects our mental state from a biological standpoint and how that kind of transfers over psychologically and into your behaviors and what you choose to do throughout your everyday.
Yeah, and there's a lot of signals that maybe are regular, but you're not noticing, and your body's trying to tell you something that you should be doing or fixing. So we're going to lead you in the right direction here.
So when when we talk about mental health, especially with the younger generation, I like to classify or or give you an example. I'll just give you an example here. Like here are some of the things that I've noticed with this younger generation that they kind of struggle with, and me included. Anyone in the younger generation, whether you're maybe in public or elementary school, middle school, high school, and even the collegiate level, or even a young adult, some of the brain patterns that a lot of these a lot of this demographic is struggling with right now is anxiety, depression, panic, ADHD like symptoms, meaning it's really hard to focus, emotional numbness, not feeling a connection to what you're doing or a lot of things, low motivation, it's hard for you to get up and do things, find goals, irritability, you're very easy to mess with and easy to put off. And another common thing that a lot of you guys are probably experiencing is the feeling of you're not able to focus in on something and really put your 100% effort, but you're not also able to rest. So you're kind of like in an in between state where you don't have enough energy to go do something, go complete a task that is like rather difficult, but you also aren't tired to the point that your body needs rest. You're kind of in a middle kind of fatigue state where it's just really hard and you probably struggle a lot because you're in the middle and you're not one way or the other, and you probably feel that nothing you do is really helping you get into that rest mode or bring your levels up energy levels up so you can go and complete whatever you need to.
Yeah, and you're probably wondering why, like I took, if you had 9 hours of sleep, or maybe even or 8 or 9 hours of sleep, and you're wondering why in the morning, why am I feeling so tired or lethargic during the day, and why can't I get moving? It's because of these environmental factors, which are kind of shaping your life into a new way. Your body's responding and adapting to new signals, and just like using your phone at nighttime, you're exposing yourself to blue light, which should be done during the day instead of late at night, where you're suppressing your melatonin. And we'll get into that a little later, but this is just one of the examples that's kind of altering your sleep schedule and making you have restless sleep.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna get into all of the hormones and neurotransmitters, which are pretty much the chemical signals being released in your body that dictate your mood and how you're feeling. And we're gonna go over each one so you guys can understand. But before we get into those, I want you guys to think of mental health and your brain trying to constantly answer two questions. And the two questions that your body and your brain is trying to answer is number one, am I safe? And then number two, do I have enough energy currently in my current state to act? And do I have enough clarity and clearness to do so as well? And those two questions are are regulated by the neurotransmitters and the hormones, like I just said, or like I just was mentioning about. And neurotransmitters, so the difference between neurotransmitters and hormones is that neurotransmitters are kind of your moment to moment chemical messengers, while hormones are released in the bloodstream and are much longer acting. So they're more for systems like cortisol, like your cortisol levels being super spiked, or it's a lot more constant with hormones. But neurotransmitters is something that's moment to moment, and it's on top of these two things. Those two questions: Am I safe, and do I have enough energy to act clearly? Are also regulated by circadian rhythm, which we've talked about on numerous podcasts episodes before this, and also your sleep, especially how long you're in deep sleep and REM sleep as well.
Yeah, and the signals that you're getting at nighttime that are affecting your sleep are maybe that you're not using enough energy during the day, like you're not having regular exercise and you're not putting yourself in a relaxed state after. And I think having a regular routine, like making sure you're avoiding the blue light later in the day, and then having a full restful sleep and waking up at a reasonable time. You don't want to be waking up past, I would say, what I usually think is not waking past a double digit number. Anytime past 9 o'clock, I think is a tell for me that I've slept a little too long and I'm out of schedule. So as long as I'm keeping a consistent basis, waking up from around 7 to 8 o'clock and getting my morning sunlight, I'm setting my circadian rhythm and spiking my cortisol in the morning. And yeah.
Another thing with timing, it's especially crucial for when you're waking up because um, as as we've mentioned in previous episodes, the sun emits different wavelengths of light at the different times of the day. So you want to have the proper awakening signal by getting the correct or right amount or the correct wavelength of light when you're waking up in those earlier AM hours. Like whenever the sun rises is pretty much when you should be waking up. And like Joshin said, especially don't go over a double digit number for the AM hours, because then you're going to be getting the wrong wavelength of light and not as beneficial as you could be if you had woken up at the correct time.
Yeah, and also I think you should kind of look at like when you're waking up it and getting the sunlight. Like we've said on previous podcasts, you can only you can spike your cortisol significantly more if you, and actually you should do it, is going outside and getting your sunlight within an hour of waking. So making sure you're not past that time, brush your teeth and get outside. Um, for the past week, I've had a couple morning runs and I've been able to consume sunlight in the early morning around 7 or 8. So that could be a thing that maybe will get your body going. So warm up your body by taking a morning walk or run and enjoy the sunlight.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many things you can do out. You can even do just a little bit of movement outside, but anything to get you outside and get under that sun is the most crucial thing.
Yeah,
But
and when you also think about it too, like if you wake up at 10 o'clock, you might have to get ready, eat breakfast, and you're looking at maybe 11 or 11:30. Part of the most of the day is gone, or like when you're supposed to get going and get moving. A lot of the time is wasted. So now you only have maybe like eight hours of the day left where you can actually be active and doing something. So I think you're saving yourself a lot of time in the long run once you're getting yourself ready and energized in the morning for the rest of the day.
yeah, exactly. And so what does it look like when these systems and our neurotransmitters and all of these four aspects of the neurotransmitters, hormones, circadian rhythm, and sleep are all stable? So what it really looks like and what it will feel like for your mind is that you will be calm, but you will also be energized at the same time. So you'll have a sort of focus and calmness to the way you're going about things, while also not feeling sluggish or tired at all. You're also going to have much more emotional flexibility, be able to handle things emotionally much better and in a much wider range. Not a lot of things will get on your nerves or send you in a different direction emotionally. You're also going to have motivation without that added negative effect of panic. So you're going to be motivated to complete things, but you're not going to be in such a panic mode and having lots of worry or anxiety when you're doing things. You're
Yeah,
also
and
going to
mm, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, you're also going to have better social confidence for when you go out and about in the world, better focus, and a stronger inner signal, meaning that you can really think clearly and all the thoughts that are coming to your head are not foggy at all. You are super sharp and super ready to go.
And what I also realized for me is that exercise helps a lot with stress, especially for you might not be motivated all every day, but you should be disciplined and stay on a routine. But I think exercise has helped me a lot with not being as stressful or irritated or annoyed easily. I think I'm much in a much more calming and relaxed state once I've done my exercise and go on with my day. So adding that to your regular routine, as well as like I think the perfect thing for me was having exercise later in the day where my energy I notice is the most active and I'm like at my full capacity. So I exercise later in the day and then take a shower, which makes me feel a lot more relaxed and ready to go to bed even earlier than I would without exercise.
And there's yeah, exercise is definitely one. Like I mean, we just took a whole class about the benefits of exercise and how it affects our psychology, and a lot of the benefits that you get from exercise are also going to be consistent with what we're talking about in this episode. So when your levels are unstable and everything is dysregulated, your mind can feel wired but tired is what I like to say. So you have energy, but not to a large capacity. You can only do very minimal things that don't require a lot of focus, and it doesn't really get you anywhere with any type of higher activity. You also tend to do uh, lower energy activities like doom scrolling and very monotonous, like things like watching TV. Whatever the simplest activities you can do, you probably gravitate towards those that are simple and entertaining in the moment to moment. And you also have a feeling that you can't start anything, and that's pretty much the same thing as procrastination. It's really hard to get you motivated to start a task, and the only thing probably motivating you is the deadline or the consequences that come with not completing that.
Yeah,
Also, you can experience sudden mood swings, and be a lot more irritable. Pretty much, this list is like the exact opposite of the list I just mentioned about when it's being when everything is super regulated.
yeah, and a lot of the things that can affect us is, say you have an office job and you're in a dim light place where you're just working all day. But realistically, we're supposed to be having sunlight during the day to help with our cortisol and keep us energized. So you want to make sure you're maybe taking a break, going outside if you have an office job, or yeah, taking advantage of that clearly. And another thing could be going on your phone. You're exposing yourself to blue light, and you're also doom scrolling. If you're kind of getting this excitement, oh, I'm scrolling through this TikTok over and over again, you're desensitizing yourself to excitement, and you're gonna kind of your body's gonna adapt to it. And then once you have to put in a little work to reach the same feeling that you had scrolling, you're not going to do it. That means your dopamine is a lot less than it should be, and you should be regulating these simple things.
Yeah, and talking about dopamine, dopamine is the first neurotransmitter that we're going to be getting into, and a lot of people kind of associate dopamine with um, feeling good, or whatever task you're doing makes you feel good. They automatically assume that, oh, I'm getting a dopamine hit from doing that task, whether it's easy or hard. No matter whatever makes you feel good, that's what people kind of associate with get having a dopamine hit. But what they don't realize is that dopamine also controls your motivation, your focus, goal directed behavior, how much effort you're putting into your goals, how you learn from things, how you learn from reward. So, for example, if I'm doing something or putting in a certain amount of effort over a period of time, and then I get a reward from it, that system has to do with how your dopamine is also being regulated as well. Also, it's going to affect your confidence to move forward with different goals that you have in mind. So you're going to be if your dopamine is regulated correctly, you're going to be more inclined to taking on more difficult challenges as opposed to putting them off and choosing the easier, more short lived goals.
Yeah, and if you think about it in the long term, if you have a little bit more discipline and make sure you have kind of a goal set in mind or something to look forward to, you don't have to always set yourself up with an easy reward. I know easy rewards are easy, and you can find them anywhere, like scrolling on the internet or just buying yourself something. Uh, like and that's an example of an easy way. But if you look at in the long term, if you do something hard and work hard, you'll have a better excitement or feeling towards that certain thing.
Yeah, and why a lot of people or young people feel this way and are constantly dysregulated, having low motivation, procrastinating for all their school works, going to the point to get stimulation from social media, and unfortunately, sometimes substance abuse or the use of drugs. The reason all of these young people are in this uh, kind of loop is because of all the environmental factors that our modern world has created for us that are much different from what we should be in naturally. So, some of the things that the modern world has changed for us as a society is that now we have a lot less daylight exposure. You're only outside when you need to be, maybe walking to the car, walking to classes if you're at a university. If you're in a high school, you're pretty much inside most of the day. And then if and the only time you're probably out is when you're walking in the building, walking out the building, walking into your home, walking out of your home. It's much less than what it used to be before. Another
Yeah,
thing that is um, really affecting us is uh, what Jack Cruz calls non-native EMFs, which stands for electromagnetic frequencies, and this is from all of the technology around us, like your phones, your computers, like pretty much this, like the platform we're on right now. It's all contributing to the dysregulation that our environment is putting on us.
yeah, and I mean, if you're watching us right now, I think the best way is maybe listening from another device or like not a direct connection, like say with Bluetooth. I think like we were talking about last podcast with the sound. This is another factor that's playing into to how you feel. So, like making sure that you're not too close to your Bluetooth device and kind of listening from afar or listening through a wired thing is a lot better. So, and also that kind of brings me back to where I was during quarantine. Everybody was inside and we were on our computers all day. I remember some of the days I would just lay in bed and open up my computer, just laying down, you know. And these signals are not good for our body, and it's telling us that uh, with a little effort, I can get through the day, you know. And the only time I would go outside was for soccer practice, and then come back inside and go back in a dark room, you know. And that's not helping in the long run, and I'm setting myself up for failure.
Yeah, and if you um, take advantage of trying to rebuild and re-regulate your dopamine levels, your whole day can pretty much change 100%. You can go from feeling tired and lacking the motivation to do anything to now getting up and having the whole day for you to kind of conquer and take under your control. So, as much as we like to think of mental health as things that are only very hyper specific to us, and because of things like past traumas and things like that, not to say that it's not, but a lot of the problem with this generation stems from the modern environment and our unfortunately uh, negative negative habits that are really affecting our health.
Yeah, as the evolution goes on, I think we've kind of shifted to the opposite of where we should be. You know, we should be outside doing something that will get our body active and kind of go with what the environment tells us.
Yeah. So what do you need to do to stabilize and control your dopamine? So like we said earlier, you need a strong day signal, a strong signal to tell you that it's daytime, that you need to get up and that you need to go. And that's gonna be, like we've always been saying, more like morning daylight exposure. Getting out there, I recommend probably 10 minutes, um, with movement is the best thing to do. And if it's not too cold out like it is here in Pennsylvania, grounding is also very very good while you have your morning light exposure. The second thing is a real night signal, and I think less of incorporating darkness and more of eliminating any artificial light and non-native EMFs at night. That's the main thing you should be focused on at night. So if you have to work late in the night, invest in something like blue light blocking glasses, or use block blue light bulbs in your room or your study area. Anything to reduce the amount of blue light exposure late at night, and also non-native EMFs. So unplug all of your devices and outlets near you so that you can sleep very well and be very well rested for the next day.
Yeah, and if you have your phone right next to your head, and or like say you're scrolling on your phone and you're going to sleep, I know it's something you shouldn't already do, but maybe put your phone, throw it all the way across the room. Whatever it is, whatever it might be, to help with your sleep as well as cold exposure. I've noticed that I'm in a lot more relaxed and easy to fall asleep state than being like really stimulated and really heated up. I think what helps with that is taking a hot shower later in the day. Then your body will regulate itself to being more cold, or from the heat. It will regulate itself eventually. So you'll be a lot cooler later in the day. And then don't bury yourself in really warm blankets. I know it's winter time and you need to be warm, but making sure that your body is feeling the right stress signals is important.
Exactly. And now we've wrapped up with that conversation with dopamine. We're gonna move on to the next two crucial hormones and neurotransmitter, which is serotonin and melatonin. So the reason they're talked to together is because they are biochemically linked, and serotonin is the daytime precursor for melatonin. And as you all know, you've probably heard of melatonin before as a supplement, but it's a hormone that regulates our sleep. And when it's time to go to bed, our body releases it into our system for us to feel tired and ready for some rest.
Yeah,
So what serotonin's main role is it's your daytime emotional regulation and your environmental confidence. So what it's going to primarily control is things like your baseline mood stability, um, emotional resilience, your social confidence when you go out and do things, impulse control. So how likely are you to uh, engage in certain behaviors and do things right off the fly? Your anxiety threshold, how much worry you have throughout the day, your stress tolerance, how much stress you can endure and still be level headed and emotionally stable, and also your perception of safety. So serotonin controls a lot as far as how we're feeling emotionally and how our mood is, and if it's stable or if it's not. And when people um, have good serotonin regulation, they feel very grounded, very safe in where they are and what they're doing, and they can be calm and emotionally stable, and also handle stress in a healthy way, uh, instead of spiraling and ripping all the negative effects of distress, instead of something like eustress, which is very positive. Um,
and I think serotonin will also help with maybe what you say or what you do throughout the day. You might be a totally different person if it's fully regulated, because I think it helps a lot with judgment. Like you said, you might say things or do things that are out of the ordinary just because you're high stress and your serotonin is not being at its optimal capacity. So you should make sure to regulate it properly.
Yeah, and serotonin, like the dopamine, is highly influenced by bright light exposure during the day, at the right time, while also getting adequate nutrient status. So the added thing on top of the dopamine with serotonin is that you need to be getting the right nutrients, macronutrients and micronutrients, every day, and using something like a fitness tracker, for maybe 1 day's worth of food is a really good tool to monitor what what your current eating habits are right now, and maybe show you some areas you may be lacking in, some areas you are proficient in, and then it's up to you to make those nutrition adjustments to help yourself out pretty much.
Yeah, and I also think what's important that people are missing is timing. When you eat, a lot of the energy that your body uses is going to your stomach. So you don't want to have an exercise right after, and you want to put a little grace period in between, or maybe not eat right before you're going to bed. Give yourself a little grace period, maybe 2 hours at least before you go to bed when you eat. Eating at the right times is really important. I think what a lot of people are missing is breakfast. I know some people don't like breakfast, but I think even just a little sourdough bread, or some healthy fats and some protein in the morning to help you go throughout the day. You don't have to eat a full breakfast, something that's a little too much for your body at the time, and maybe you're not awake enough yet. Maybe eat some boiled eggs or some soft boiled eggs with some sourdough bread. This morning I had some avocado, sourdough, soft boiled eggs, and some ham, and that was good, healthy fats, and as well as some quick carbs for me throughout the day. And I felt pretty energized. And I've been doing this for a little bit, and I've noticed I feel a lot more energy when it's most important, which is earlier in the day, towards maybe the evening, where I need it. So I think incorporating foods at the right times is really important as well.
Yeah, and it's well, first things first. Always make sure that, like, if you have anything to complete the morning with, it's the sun first, and then probably your breakfast second. Also, you should be eating uh, in the morning within the first 30 minutes of waking anyway, to help regulate your hormones and neurotransmitters correctly. So what I would say is get up, go directly out into the sun, um, then come back inside, brush your teeth, or do whatever little bathroom tasks you have to do in the morning. Then start right away with your breakfast, and
Yeah, and
that'll
make sure
fit
to
that 30-minute window.
yeah, and make sure to rehydrate as well in the morning. I think another step that you should do right away is drink 2 glasses of water. I've been drinking 2 glasses of water and taking electrolytes in the morning, right when I wake up before I go get my sunlight, and I've noticed a big difference. I think you're going to be knocking out your light water and magnetism if you drink your water in the morning, then go outside and do some grounding. So having those 3 steps in the morning is going to set you up for success throughout your whole year.
Yeah, and it's gonna it once like also it this whole process should be something that uh uh you should be thinking about as rebuilding, and not fixing um overnight. Like these systems, especially your hormones, um if they have been uh, in dysregulation for a long amount of time, it takes like it's a pretty long process getting all of your levels back to where they need to be, and you should be taking time and really putting in realistic changes into your life to see the benefit. Don't expect 1 or 2 days of uh, 1 or 2 days of doing these things to affect affect you long term. It has to be done on a consistent basis. And it's a sad thing that our modern world has taken out a lot of these basic human needs
Hmm.
that we should be doing every single day. And I feel like our artificial world makes it much easier to avoid doing those essential things.
Yeah, one example that it'll may take a little time, but it will really help me. I have iron deficiency, so I do need to supplement iron as well as get my vitamin C to increase absorption. So I've been having, and also it takes around 46 to 72 hours to absorb iron. So that is another thing that might take time. But I know that if I keep a consistent basis of taking it every day and making sure I get my vitamin C, I know I'll have enough energy during my workout or even throughout the day doing work. So kind of seeing it on a long term thing and a longevity standpoint is a lot more important than using all your energy in one day.
Yeah, exactly. Well, whatever can make you consistent is what you're gonna end up falling into in the long run. And moving on to melatonin, which is now um, uh, the nighttime hormone that is being released. What you need to know is that, and I said this on a podcast, I think that on the Figuring Out Friday when we were talking about sleep. Sunlight you get in the morning, specifically UV, is what sets your melatonin rhythm, aka when your melatonin is being released at night. So if you're not getting the sunlight in the morning, then you have completely thrown off your melatonin rhythm for the day, and you might not be able to fall asleep as deeply or get enough rest during the night hours. And what melatonin primarily controls is super important processes like cellular repair, mitochondrial repair, antioxidant defense, so the defense against free radicals or oxidative stress, immune regulation, neural recovery, which is very highly in support of your brain, circadian rhythm, and like I said before, how deep and how restful the sleep that you're getting is. And sleep is kind of what you're noticing on the surface level, but repair and what is being repaired at night is what really matters and what's going to affect your mental and emotional health for the next day when you wake up.
Yeah, and you can see a direct connection with energy here where melatonin plays a role in repairing your mitochondria. Your mitochondria spikes your energy and creates your energy. So you need to be able to rest it and repair it at nighttime so that you can have energy later in the day or the next day following. So it's a long thing, but making sure you have proper sleep and proper exposure to certain stress signals and maybe avoiding certain stress signals is really crucial.
Yeah, and when like some common um, uh, effects of mental melatonin disruption that I know a lot of people and and especially me, have experienced in the time of COVID and quarantine is that anxiety worsens at night. You have racing thoughts in bed. I know that's super common, and I've had it uh, a lot during the time of COVID. Like I would have racing thoughts and and high energy, like it was the daytime, but it's time to go to bed, and I've gone through most of my day, even if I've done really hard, tiring tasks. I still and even if I haven't gotten a good sleep the night before, I used to have the logic that, oh, if I'm awake for whatever, like 20 hours, 20 hours straight, then oh, I should be able to get super deep sleep the next day. But I was completely wrong and was just stuck in the same cycle because no matter how many hours I was awake, those that didn't really have a significant effect on the quality of my sleep compared to um, when I started implementing getting in that morning sunlight and realizing that's what ultimately sets up how melatonin is going to act through the rest of the night, as well as trying my best to eliminate all of the blue light and non-native EMFs during the later hours in the day.
And one little trick that I've been doing late at night when I'm laying down and I maybe can't fall asleep yet is focusing on my breathing. I'm not doing a full exercise or anything like that, but me focusing on taking a deep breath in and all the way up to my shoulders and then out all the way down to my stomach. I think it's really important when it comes to putting yourself in a relaxed state so that you can go to sleep easier. I've noticed a big difference even in just like maybe a couple deep breaths. I'm in a lot more different headspace than I was before. So just taking that little step of thinking about how you can be more relaxed can go a long way, and it's really simple.
Yeah, and that will work for some circumstances, but if your serotonin and melatonin is super dysregulated, then you're gonna experience the the racing thoughts and the lack of sleepy feeling at night if you don't fix all of the other critical factors that are pretty much dictating the regulation of melatonin.
Yeah, and if you take one step in the right direction, all the things will follow. So it doesn't have to be all at once, but making sure it's a gradual return to where where you should be at. Your body will just follow where it needs to go.
Hmm. And just a reminder, like we've been saying, artificial light um, breaks both of the systems of serotonin and melatonin. So you should be doing your best, especially 2 hours before bed, of avoiding any highly stressful activities if you can. Um, but if not, and if you have to do something like study very late in the day, um, uh, use a book or don't try to limit the use of any phones or any screens and super bright lights at night. It will really impact your sleep, and also unplugging all devices around you is super crucial. And I think you can notice the benefits after up to a week of making these simple nighttime changes.
Mhm.
So now we're gonna go into cortisol, which most people know or interpret as the stress hormone. And cortisol is not something to be looked at as something bad or something harmful for the body. Cortisol can be very good when it's timed right and when it follows our circadian rhythm. But when is in a spiked or in a chronically spiked state or raised level, then that's when we're gonna experience a lot of the negative effects. So a healthy pattern of cortisol would be having it spike higher uh, or at its peak in the morning when you wake up, and then uh, lower gradually as the day progresses, reaching its lowest point at night for then where melatonin is being released into the system. And when cortisol loses its natural rhythm or regulated rhythm, that's where you start to feel wired at night, like your heart's racing or you have racing thoughts. You're maybe very in a high emotional state at night. Um, things like that. That's what elevated cortisol or chronically elevated cortisol levels can do to people. And then that's going to leave you tired in the next morning, you're going to be constantly anxious, even for small things that really don't even matter, and it's going to just put more stress on you, more stress on your mind, your body, and leave you overstimulated and tired at the same time, um, which makes you feel really stuck and like you're not going one way or the other. You're just in the middle, kind of cruising um, at a at an undesirable spot in your life.
Yeah, and you can see the big difference of cortisol spiking in the morning versus melatonin at night. You can see the how one should be during the morning and then later, and it goes down as the day goes on, and then melatonin comes in as it rises, and then towards the morning it recycles over and over again. So you kind of can see what you should be doing and avoiding, like blue light later in the day, avoiding that. Maybe I'll do more activity during earlier in the day, and also getting my sunlight. These are things that you should just closely pay attention to and work on as you go.
Yeah, and you'll once you start to implement this, you'll soon realize that your life is completely changing. The things that you're able to now do throughout the day, you're able to complete harder tasks. You're able to actually put your energy towards doing something and not trying to look at other sources to get yourself motivated. You now actually have the energy and the mental capacity and capability to do the things you've always wanted to do because now your neurotransmitters and hormones are not all out of whack anymore and they're regulated how they're supposed to be and in
Yeah,
line with the natural circadian rhythm of wherever you're at, um, wherever your location is in the world.
yeah, and you can notice a lot less times where you're burnt out or having to scrape for more energy through caffeine and things like that. As you make these changes, I noticed that when I was exercising a little more last week, and I wasn't getting my proper sleep, I noticed I was getting a little more burnt out, but I was not focusing on the signals that my body was telling me. I needed to get more sleep and sleep a little earlier than I needed to. And maybe instead of 12 o'clock, I'll sleep at 10 o'clock or a little bit before then. And I think listening to my body really changed, made a difference. And from now on, I think I'll make sure to keep that in mind.
Yeah, definitely. And they and yeah, and you will probably see a bunch of new changes in your energy levels, especially in the morning hours. And I always think it's better that things are happening during the day. Whenever it's nighttime, unless you have maybe an online job or things like that, more of the leisurely tasks are happening uh, during the night, and not as much of the hard uh, work that maybe needs to be done to contribute to your success. Not to say that there's not unsuccessful late night workers, but what I'm saying is that most of your hard work should be done during the day. And now we have the last two neurotransmitters, which are going to be GABA, which stands for gamma aminobutyric acid, and then uh, glutamate. So, what these two control are your brain's um, gas pedal, as I like to call it, and your brake. So glutamate is going to be your gas pedal, and it's uh, responsible for excitatory actions or feelings like mood activation, learning, and alertness. And GABA is going to be your brake pedal, and that's going to be more of the inhibitory activities like being calm, slowing down, and not engaging and things as much. So pretty much taking a break. And when people have mental health issues, like anxiety, especially, they're constantly um, uh, on the gas all of the time and are like go 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 and don't have enough break in their mental state, so they're overly stressed and overly worried about every single little thing in their life. Every second of their life is miserable because they're constantly worried about every single activity that they have to do. And this system is not regulated because our environment is now negatively impacting the regulation of both. So what you need to do, and I mean, it's kind of easy, or it makes it much easier that sunlight covers everything, or has an effect on all of these neurotransmitters, because that's like an easy thing you can just implement. Getting outside and getting sunlight can literally set the rhythm for almost all of your neurotransmitters, pretty much. And like we suggested for all the ones before, GABA and glutamate, there's no surprise here as well. So you have to be getting your bright light in the day as well if you want to regulate your GABA and glutamate correctly. And you also need to be having dark nights, which means excluding all of the blue light and screens and technology in the later hours of the day. You also want to incorporate some natural movement. So a lot of people go to the gym as their kind of exercise or movement for the day, but the gym is actually not the best environment to be conducting your movement. You want to be outside exercising. So if that's going to a park and going for a run, doing a sports activity, doing anything outside is the most optimal for having natural movement instead of always being in an environment like the gym. Not to say that a gym is bad. Of course, the gym is an amazing place and incredible if you want to gain strength and gain conditioning and reap a lot of health benefits of exercise. But you're not in the most optimal environment compared to being outside.
Yeah, and in the gyms, there's a lot of blue light that you're consuming. There's this one gym that has this really big lights, and it's a commercial gym, and it's blue light. Which when I walked in there, it kind of felt overwhelming, and I know I was at the time where my energy was at its peak, but it was kind of throwing me off, and I didn't get to focus as much as I should have been. And I think that's another thing that you should notice. If something's irritating you or bothering you, like the blue light, how I'm saying, you should put yourself in a better environment. Maybe going outside. Maybe even if you have a home gym, take that home gym or material or weights or things like that outside, and in the morning do some morning exercises. I think maybe doing some fantastics like Traeger we talked about. Fantastics are little things that can involve movement and give your body a more supple and softer feeling in the morning, and get you you can upregulate your body and downregulate your body using it. So it's kind of very versatile, and I think walking or even running or using Mentastics in the morning is really helpful. And adding on the avoiding blue light and getting sunlight, grounding, and drinking your water in the morning, it will be cutting out a lot of things and setting your body in the right direction. So it doesn't take too much effort. It's just putting yourself in the right routine.
Yeah. So if you wanted the most simple kind of step by step thing you can do to uh, um, re-regulate all of these is number one, like we've been saying, and like Joshin just gave with all of his examples, um, regulate your morning environment as your step one. So doing all the things that we've already been talking about to do when you're waking up, do that as your step one, and then step two, preparing your night for success for the next day. So saving those last 2 hours before bed to reduce any EMF interference, as well as any high stress activities, is really going to help you out. And then step three would be to have what I call one dopamine meal per day. So this dopamine meal is a task. So you're gonna have one daily task that you're gonna do that is pretty high effort, that is very meaningful, that you have a connection with, that's gonna be kind of centered around yourself and your goals and contribute to maybe your overall life's goal or your main goal for that day. It's not gonna this you're only gonna do it for a certain amount of time. It's not gonna be something that's gonna take up your whole day, but you're gonna put a lot of effort and focus into it, and you're gonna complete it without multitasking. A lot of people like to multitask, and I think that um, kind of puts them off and leads them to spiral in different directions and leave a lot of work left undone. So you're going to do this task without doing other things on the side as well. You're just going to focus on this one thing. And
Yeah, and
step
I think if you do this one thing without multitasking, you can get the most out of it. Like me, I think one of the examples that we have is going to kickboxing training. Sometimes there's days where I don't want to go and it's going to be really difficult. I know every day is going to be difficult, but I'm just getting myself out of bed and getting myself going there is just showing myself that I can do something difficult throughout the day and also receive a reward, which is a relaxing feeling, as well as I'm getting better with myself. I'm getting better as an athlete as well as mentally. I'm getting a lot more disciplined. So making sure you do something a little bit difficult, even it could even be something like say you have a relationship, talking with your significant other or talking with your family, doing things that help you overall, but are making sure you're making sure that you're not multitasking and paying a full 100% attention so that you can get the best outcome.
Yeah, but you want it to be something like not like a conversation. If you're doing it with another person, you want it to be something really goal directed. You want to have a end result or end reward. So be I don't think it's really something hard to pick out, but any task that is goal oriented and has a definite result that you can get by putting uh, the effort that you need to complete it.
Yeah, say you wanted to do something like an added on hobby like that could be a little difficult, like playing music. Say if somebody wanted say if someone wanted to play the guitar, you could add that to his day. That could be something that's a little difficult and is stimulating his brain in a new way. Learning that could help in a lot of ways, and I think exploring new challenges is really important too. You don't want to just have yourself do the same thing every day. I know that say we do kickboxing all the time. Of course, it's something that's really hard to do, and also is really good in the long term. Maybe we should switch it up sometimes. Do jujitsu or maybe a different martial art. I don't know.
Any I think the most relatable one for us
You
is
got
the
flustered there with the comment.
I appreciate the love from Limbo. I think it's the goatee that's helping me out a little bit. So I appreciate the love from you, Limbo. And you look. I know you're looking fine right now, watching the podcast too. So all the love to you. So any like we also said too. it's something finite, so not something that's gonna extend past the day that you're doing it. It can be, I guess, if you're working on a long term project and you want to split up your um, uh, tasks over a certain amount of days, completing that task for a long one task for a long term project can also fall under the criteria of this dopamine meal. But anything kind of in that sort of realm.
Yeah, and
But
Limbo says as well. He says, "I definitely agree. Can't be eating some same meal every day. Maybe you have some meal that you really wanted to make. That could be a challenge as well. Adding another skill to your inventory. I think cooking is a really good thing, and you should be able to make your meals healthy as well as make many different meals. Like I think having cooking as a tool that I can use every day has helped me with nutrition as well as how I feel. So maybe you want to make this healthy dish this one day, and maybe another day you'll try something else. I don't know. That's another skill that you can have.
yeah, definitely. And the step four in this process would be after you have, or not after you have completed the step three, which is the dopamine meal. This step four is something you would integrate kind of throughout your entire day, and this step four is replacing all of your low moments um, from uh, fast stimulation or consuming content uh, via social media, and changing that to incorporating very basic things like walking, breath work, um, maybe having a really quick hot shower to um, reset yourself, stretching, journaling, prayer, or meditation, switching out those small little moments instead of me, if I have a little break, taking time to just go on my phone and scroll. Instead of doing that in my little break, I'm gonna take some time to maybe get up and do some gymnastics, maybe go for a walk, and do all these different activities instead of different activities that are not stimulating as consuming content on your phone.
Yeah, and maybe I'm just sitting there thinking, what can I do to improve my day and maybe make my week or month a lot better? Say it's something having to do with like my dog, uh, taking him out on a walk every day. Toby likes to have a lot of activity, so I think strengthening a relationship with my dog is really important to me. So that could be another thing as well. And another comment from the chat. I heard you guys are planning to have cooking classes at Healing Your Way. Is that true? Yes, with the new Healing Your Way a spot that we're opening pretty soon in the near future, we're gonna have a lot of opportunities for cooking classes, and we're gonna have a chef there that can guide you through how to cook them and the nutrition facts about them. So you can go to Healing Your Way and uh, learn a new skill like that.
Yeah, and that's gonna be all by Mr. David Cunningham. I did the Wednesday podcast with him. I think in the summer. So if you want to check what he's all about, you can go and check out that live that we did. That's on the YouTube channel with David Cunningham. And moving on, um, I'm just gonna cover. We're just gonna get into this a little bit now, or kind of see where we go with it, because this might be something to expand on in a later episode more in depth. But another thing or factor that is really gonna affect your mental health is going to be your gut health. And I know you've a lot of people have heard this time and again, but 70% of the hormone and neurotransmitter regulation is responsible um, for the gut. And I read Dr. William Davis's book called Supergut, and it really kind of shed a lot of light on how different things like intestinal permeability, which is how strong your selective barrier is, that lines your gut and allows nutrients in and prevents toxins from entering in. How strong how how strong something like that is really going to affect um, your mental state, because if you have toxins and bad things coming or passing through your gut lining, that is really going to affect the state of the microbiota in your gut and really throw things off to a whole different category.
Yeah, and here we have a picture or showing a picture of your normal tight junctions as well as your leaky gut syndrome. On the left is your normal, kind of where your normal stomach lining should look like. On the inside, your microbiome should be a lot healthier, and you should be introducing yourself to foods that are going to agree with your gut. Making sure, I think, one way to make sure you're eating the right things is doing the elimination diet. We had a whole section or series about diets, and we all did one with the figuring out guys in the summer. So maybe you should check that out and see which diets might agree with your stomach. And on the right picture shows a leaky and inflammatory gut. All the bad bacteria and toxins are leaking through your gut lining and going into your blood flow, going to your blood and circulatory system, and it's kind of causing inflammation where you can't maybe transport certain nutrients throughout your body, and it's causing a lot of stress, and stress signals are getting thrown through to your brain, and you're kind of getting thrown off as a whole. So this is kind of a visual of how bacteria and toxins can leak into your blood system.
Yeah, and also on top of mood, or the gut being very responsible for your mental health and your mood, it's also heavily responsible for your immune activity. And also, more than 70% of immune activity interfaces with the gut and how strong your gut is, and if the bacterial populations in your gut are in the optimal ratios. Because if they're not, you're going to have gut dysbiosis, which is going to affect your mental health, increase mood swings, um, and decrease nutrient absorption, which is again then going to throw off all of the hormones and neurotransmitters, like we were just mentioning as well. And one actually cool thing that I learned on one of Jack Cruz's podcasts, I don't remember which one exactly, but he found that, or he was talking about an experiment where, with monkeys, I think, where they were feeding them the usual optimal diet that uh, every monkey or wild monkey would eat, and then they swapped that diet with Mars bars. And the thing that they did is kept the light environment consistent and super optimized. And what they noticed is that all of the gut populations and stomach were not affected at all. Everything was completely the same. as long as the monkeys were getting adequate sunlight and were in the correct natural environment. So that kind of puts the conversation of gut health away from food and more about or more focused on getting sunlight, because if it's not the because a lot of people think it's the food that's directly affecting the gut. Not to say that it's not, but I think the lack of light exposure issue is much more significant than food being the problem. So I would say tackle both issues, but focus more on the light. If there had to be one thing every day for you to start implementing.
Yeah, and also in the picture, you can see how on the left there's good bacteria. A lot of that gets washed away. Say you get sick and you want to take antibiotics. The antibiotics not only takes away the bad bacteria, but also takes away the good bacteria. So then that could lead to leaky gut and good bacteria being thrown away, where you should be maintaining that. And another way to maintain that is maybe having a detox where you're introducing things like kefir, which is going to be really good for your gut. It's going to have all the good bacteria that your body needs and your stomach lining needs to be repaired and less inflammatory. So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
also the uh like I said with immune activity uh being heavily interfaced with the gut, the reason you have this inflammatory response is because there's weakness in the gut barrier. So weakness in the gut barrier triggers the inflammatory response, and then you get um, uh, these negative effects and what you see here on the diagram, and
Yeah,
like Joshin's been talking about.
and you can see how the tight junctions are really close together, pulling the cells together to stop the toxins from going through. But if you don't have good bacteria and the tight junctions to hold together all that stomach lining, you will just be throwing yourself in the wrong direction. Also, making sure you're eating foods with high DHA and like shellfish, as well as seafood like fatty seafood like salmon to get your omega threes and as well, and getting the right oils and nutrients in your body is going to play a role into how you feel as a whole, not only on the physical standpoint, but as well as your mental state.
Yeah, and some of the uh, negative signals that you can get from this inflammatory gut response is altered dopamine signaling, a blunt in serotonin stability, disruption of melatonin production, an increase in cortisol, and then a reduce in GABAtone. And pretty much these are all of the hormones and neurotransmitters that I uh, that we just went over pretty much. So if you're not taking control of your gut health, you are messing up the signaling and regulation of all of these critical neurotransmitters and hormones.
And also, I think another food that you should be taking into account is pickled vegetables. In the summer, I had like I was talking about earlier, we all did a diet. I did the Japanese diet, and I really didn't have any stomach problems at all because I was eating the pickled vegetables like kimchi, and they're fermented, which will help you get all the good bacteria that you need in your stomach. And I think it's just a great thing to have with your meal. And you don't need to eat too much of it. It just needs to be maybe just a couple, just a little bowl of kimchi or some pickled radish or something like that. And you can have it. You don't have to have it every day, but having something like that or kefir with a high amount of good bacteria for your stomach is really, really good.
Yeah, and also another thing that really affects the inflammatory response is your ratio of omega 6 and omega 3 fatty acids. And when you have an excess amount of omega 6 fats, which is what most people are suffering from, then you will have this amplified inflammation at the gut barrier. So, just for reference, most people have uh, highly excessive ratios of omega 6 to omega 3. And omega 6 is pretty much from like saturated fat, seed oils, from fast foods, all of those fat sources. And omega 3s are going to be from things like salmon, any fish. That's why you see omega 3 supplements being fish oil capsules. That because that's where you get it from. You're getting it from fish oil, avocados, olive oil as well. More of those unsaturated fats. And implementing more of those is gonna bring your omega 6 and omega 3 ratio back up to par and reduce gut inflammation.
Yeah, and you should look for what you can and can't eat because a lot of people like to eat steak, and I like to eat steak too, and I think it's really beneficial for my diet, especially because I'm iron deficient. I need something like a red meat to help me have iron throughout the day, throughout the next days upcoming, and have energy for my exercises. So steak is definitely important for me, but some people might not be able to digest it properly, and it might cause a lot of inflammation in their stomach and because it's high in fat, it might.
Depending on the cuts that you get, or if you're getting ground beef, the fat to lean ratio that you get. But yeah, most
Yeah,
people are leaning towards the fat side of things.
yeah. So if you can eat steak, maybe just eat the white meat, chicken, turkey, or salmon. Definitely make sure you get the salmon in or some fatty fish.
Yeah, I wouldn't eliminate steak because you're gonna get a lot of essential B vitamins, especially in iron as well, like you said, from the steak. But I would opt for the leaner cuts, and while also incorporating salmon and olive oil, and those omega 3 sources as well. So
Yeah, and some.
you can reduce the omega 6 sources. Um, not you don't have to by not fully cutting out steak. You just have to opt for better cuts or better um, percentages of fat to lean if you're having something like ground beef.
Yeah, and something that's also helped with my gut is avoiding dairy. Ever since I had the Japanese diet in the summer, I've noticed that like this is the thing that really made a difference, and I really want to keep in my routine, avoiding the avoiding dairy products as much as I can. Sometimes you can have it every now and then, but I usually have oat milk as an alternative, and I think it really works for me. Maybe you'll have almond milk or something a little different, but having excess dairy is not something that you need in your body.
Yeah, I would say dairy and gluten are the top two things that cause gut irritability. Dairy is more dependent on if you're like lactose intolerant or not. If you're lactose intolerant, you're gonna definitely struggle more with digesting dairy products. But I think most people would, as far as gluten products and bread, most people would benefit from uh, completely excluding um, bread and pastas and things like that from their diets, and if anything, reaching for something like a sourdough bread, which is at least gone through the fermentation process. But most breads and things that fall into that category, eliminating it is probably going to be your best bet if you want to optimize your gut health.
Yeah, and also talking about the high omega sixes. I know that you said seed oils. One place that a lot of people like to go, which is it's a pretty good like quick stop, and it might be healthy in the moment, but they Chipotle, they use seed oils in their foods and their cooking, and that's the main oil. So you can tell how that's gonna affect your gut on a later end. I think last week I had a Chipotle burrito. I know it's a little unhealthy with the tortilla, but also I noticed that my stomach and bowel movement was it felt like kind of warm uh and like inflammatory, and my stool wasn't as good as it should have been, and I think that was had to play to the seed oils and also the tortilla having too much wheat as well. So I think or wheat and corn. So just kind of avoiding those little things. I know Chipotle it can be a good alternative, and it's not perfect, but maybe just avoiding it a little more and making home cooked meals is a better term for you.
Yeah, and see, uh, seed oils aren't inherently bad. The thing that makes them bad is that most people with the American diet uh, have a crazy imbalance of omega 6 to omega 3s, and consuming more seed oils is not gonna um, help you um, tip that ratio in a more favorable way. So reducing the amount of seed oils you consume is going to help bring your ratio back to balance much better than if you had consumed them. So what I would suggest is you don't have to eliminate all seed oils from your diet, but reduce the amount of seed oils and then increase the amount of omega uh, 3 fat sources so you can balance out that ratio much better. And I don't know exactly the ratio. I'm just gonna guess. I think it was like 1 to 6. I can be completely wrong. One being the omega 3 and six being the omega 6. But I could be wrong on that. But just balancing out that ratio is going to be really important if you want to reduce gut inflammation.
And also another idea I have, maybe it could be a podcast in the future, is talking about the absorption of certain minerals and certain things like nutrients. I think maybe sometimes people should have their vitamins later in the day rather than in the morning, because you won't be able to absorb it in time for it to be effective for the day that you're trying to maybe work out a little more or whatever it is. So I think maybe that could be an idea in the future, but kind of look at if for now, maybe look up what's the absorption rate of whatever you're consuming, like iron. It's not going to affect me if I take it in the morning, but if I take it at night, it's going to play a role.
Yeah, absorption and bioavailability are going to be super important when you're looking at different vitamins or nutrients and things, because absorption will be your gut's ability to actually uptake those nutrients, and then bioavailability is going to be um, uh, pretty much the ability, like your it's going to be the food's nutritional availability. So what percent of that specific food can my body actually use? And some people um, may be consuming things that are less bioavailable, therefore getting less nutrients than they could be. For example, protein powder. If you're getting something like a whey protein powder, that's going to be much more bioavailable, meaning your body can actually use that protein compared to something like a plant-based protein, which is much less bioavailable, and you're probably going to need a larger amount of the plant protein to then be able to absorb the same amount as if you had the whey protein.
Yeah, and also some things maybe not doing it all the time, but having maybe soy-based proteins like tofu and soup. In the summer when I had the Japanese diet, I had miso soup and I made it homemade, and I think that that fully agreed with my stomach, and it's a plant-based protein, so or soy-based protein, so I think it helped with whatever I needed.
Yeah, and what else do I have here? Also, uh, sugar is really gonna have a an effect on gut inflammation as well. So especially like high fructose um, products, you're gonna want to avoid consuming those because it's gonna cause a lot of gut irritability, and especially if you consume high amounts of uh, sugar in one sitting, that's gonna really throw off your gut and throw off your um, mood, as well as give you a glucose spike and crash as well, which is gonna really affect your energy. So that's another thing to be aware of uh, when you're considering your gut health. And and finally, the last thing um, is gonna be drugs and exposures that are gonna mess up and damage the barrier. So frequent use of NSAIDs like ibuprofen or aspirin, PPIs, and some other meds can really cause the roughing up of the gut barrier. Repeated antibiotics, like you've said already. High alcohol intake. Alcohol is really damaging to the gut, and if you're going out on frequent Saturday nights or weekend nights, drinking a lot of alcohol, you're really ruining your gut lining. So uh, limiting or eliminating it and having control of it as much as you can is the best thing to do when trying to preserve the longevity and healthiness of your gut.
Yeah, and I
One,
think also, I was talking to my sister about everybody has a ceiling, and everybody can reach it if they can do the right things like training or playing a role in their nutrition. It's up to them if they want to work hard enough to, or be more mindful enough to reach that ceiling. Your body is capable of many things, but if you can't regulate something like simple as not drinking alcohol during the weekends, you might not reach your full potential.
yeah, and what I was gonna say is one other thing that can affect gut health is a chronic high caffeine dependence, especially if it's so high that it's messing with your sleep and your stress as well. So, um, trying to reduce the amount of caffeine that you intake, especially in later hours of the day, is really going to help. And on top of that, we did an energy drink episode on the best beverages to consume or caffeinated beverages to consume, when to consume it, and how to approach it in a healthy way and stop being so reliant and so dependent on it. And yeah, just check out the Figuring Out Friday live for on the Rumble on the YouTube channel if you want to check out that episode.
Yeah, that's.
But
I think the title is caffeinated drinks or something like that.
yeah, something like that. We tested out a bunch of different ones and recommended the best ones that we thought were good for your health, as well as the recommended dosages and um, yeah, amounts that you should be taking per day.
Yeah, and we're kind of building. I feel like as we go, like a lot of certain reference points that people can have, like water as well. If somebody can wants to take a look at how that plays a role into their health, we have a Water is Life podcast that we already did. So yeah, see, someone's drinking water right there. And like I said before, some things that you should definitely do is in the morning to set your day right is drinking a full glass of water, maybe 16 ounces, and then going outside, getting your sunlight and grounding. And that will knock out light water magnetism that you should be getting every day.
Yeah, and I think that wraps it up. We covered, or I think we covered everything as far as what's gonna really be indicative of good, healthy, stable um, mental health, and
Mhm.
hopefully you can implement some, if not all, of the recommendations we've given to you guys in this episode, because I really feel like not only is it going to change your day, but if you implement these things consistently enough, you're going to notice changes in your life. You're going to be much more successful. You're going to be doing the things that you've always wanted to do, look the way you've always wanted to look, feel the way you've always wanted to feel. Like everything is going to change if you start implementing these basic things that unfortunately the modern world has kind of damaged and taken away from us. So kind of cherish the things that Mother Nature has given us, because it's to our benefit and not to hurt us.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to today's Monday episode of the hidden signals that are shaping your mental state. And we will see you on next Monday's
Yeah.
podcast.
Oh, I wanted to add as well. We might be having a special guest on as well. Next Friday, it might be centered
You
around
mean
maybe
Monday? Monday? No, we're
next
not on
Monday. Yeah,
Friday. Yeah.
next Monday. I keep forgetting, but it might be centered around sports and the psychological side of it. We're not sure yet, but be ready for next week and stay tuned.
Yeah, and I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas Eve, Christmas, and
Yeah.
have lots of good food, share a bunch of presents, and have a good time. So, Merry Christmas to all of you guys this week, and we will see you on next Monday's podcast. Thank you.
See you guys. Merry Christmas.